Hello out there. We're on the air, baby. Sorry, I'm a little bit late here. Oh, I'm out of breath. What a morning. What a morning. I got one sock on. That's the kind of morning it's been today. I forgot to put my second one on. Okay, good morning. Holy cow. Happy Thursday, everybody. Anybody else love Thursdays? I do. Almost as much as Friday. I don't know. What's the best day? That's a good question. What's the best day? If we were taking a poll, what's the best day? Fridays. I think most people would say Fridays. I would probably be in that camp as well. Or Saturday. I just love getting up early on Saturday and reading for like a couple hours and then getting some shit done. And then just like, that's it. Friday, you gotta work for a lot of Friday. Hey, look who it is. Look who it is. Hello. Oh, no, we're not doing that. We're not doing that, Arnie. That's for sure. All right. Oh, Letha. Look at this zap. That's a different one. 68 sats. Maybe that's because of the 69 theory that I had yesterday. Makes sense. So Letha's like, you know what? We're not. We're going to send a zap that resembles that, but we're not going to give any mixed messages here on the show. So 68. I like that. That's a safe move, Letha. Thank you. Happy Thursday from Letha. Happy Thursday to everybody out there. Charlie Dunn's in the chat this morning. Listen to Jack Cruz pod. He called Trump a useful idiot. Well, I disagree with him there. I agree with him with a lot of things, but I don't think he's useful for sure. I don't think he's an idiot. Okay, we got Spaceman Zap 62. Another. The Zap numbers are interesting to me. I don't know why. They're you can usually send a message with the Zap with a number, and some people have like their signature, their trademark amounts. Some people just do completely random ones. The nice thing for me is I got my channel's called 88 Sat, so that's pretty much what I zap. I don't zap anything less than. Actually, you know what? It's an interesting little tidbit about me you guys might not know. So for probably, I've been on Noster for just under 2 years now. By the way, today's going to be a good show, but I'm just thinking of things in my head that I'm going to be talking about. But I've been on Noster for just about 2 years now. And I think maybe for like the first month or two, I was liking posts and stuff like that, like liking with a heart or one of those like hang 10 signs. But ever since then, I've literally been zaps only, which means that I guess interact with a lot less. Oh shit. I want to open my window here. The sky looks beautiful today. Hold on. There we go. So anyways, I've been pretty much zaps only, which means, like I said, less kind of interaction, less support, I guess you'd say. But I'm very particular with posts that I zap. And the minimum that I zap is 88 sats. Sometimes it's higher. But I don't know. To me, it's just so much of a different experience on Noster compared to something else. Like you could like all the posts you want on Instagram and Twitter and whatever else. Like, what does that matter though? What does that matter to the creator? Nothing. So I interact less, but I actually, when it's meaningful when I do it. But that's the thing, like 88 sats, I didn't plan that, but that's kind of like my new signature on Noster. Anyways, Letha zapped 1,000 sats as well, saying LOL, good morning, Bitcoiners. So she got a kick out of that. I think that was on the private Q&A yesterday. I was talking about the 69 sat zap as being like the new version of the poke on Facebook. Anyways, you had to be there, I guess. But anyways, on that note, a little bit of housekeeping. Yesterday we missed the show. Didn't do a show here on the channel. But every Wednesday, including last Wednesday, yesterday, and into the future, we're going to be doing private Q&As for all the members of the YouTube and on the Patreon channel. So it was a really good one yesterday, actually. If you're looking for some really kind of in-depth, like thought experiments, like a really deep dive on like how we should be thinking about our private keys and storing our Bitcoin. We talked about fires. We talked about a whole bunch of different situations and how to prepare for that, starting like at the bottom and then kind of working your way up over time. So honestly, if you watched that show from yesterday on the private Q&A, I think that episode alone would be more than enough worth your time and your value. So check that out. The easiest way to do that would be joining the Living the Future community. I think I put it at the top. You can just click like the 365 there. There's a link to the Patreon and all tiers. And I think it's starting at $3 tier. They all get access to that. So there's one yesterday, a really good one. The week before we did a private one too. So I love those ones. Actually, they're my favorite day, which is kind of shitty to say in front of the YouTube here, but we can talk about anything. I'm a lot more comfortable talking about like security stuff, like different thinking things through, some things I wouldn't say on YouTube for the censorship reasons and just because, some things aren't meant to be public. So that's the beauty of that. And we're going to be doing that every week now going forward. So you can check out the last 2 episodes plus everything else on the thing. On the ting, the thing. Bodhi, Zapped 88 sats. Good morning, friends. Good morning, Bodhi. Bodhi and I are doing our show today at Bodhi, help me out here. 2 p.m. Eastern time? I think that sounds right, but we'll wait for Bodhi to confirm that. We got Cleaner Machine in the chat this morning. Good morning. Guacamo. Okay, you got to tell me if somebody said I was saying it wrong in the comments. Somebody said it's supposed to be Guacamo, which makes sense to me. Guacamo or Guacamo. Gua or Gua. Anyways, one of the greatest names in YouTube history, Guacamo Ravioli. Tough to beat that. Tough to beat that name. Good morning, Lori. We got a coffee and a rocket ship. Are we moving today or what? I guess we hit 100K yesterday, hey? We're back in the hundos. It's kind of exciting. It's kind of, Arnie's destroying something out there. Hold on. Arnie. Destructo today. Destructo Arnie. Ginger, good morning. And we got Killer in the chat too. Good morning, Living the Future. Good morning. Leno says, hello, just listened to the episode of Bitcoin, Not Crypto with you. Super interesting. Also to hear a bit about what you did before. What the heck's going on out there? Keeping an eye on him. I don't know if you can hear that or not, but he's up to something out there. But yeah, I mean, that's, I don't know. I don't know how interesting it is. It was just, I'd say the least interesting thing of all time, being an accountant. That's the thing. That's the thing within Bitcoin too. I've kind of struggled with this a little bit myself in terms of like, looking at people who are in Bitcoin, looking at people who are talking about Bitcoin and like have Bitcoin channels. What's their agenda there? What were they doing before Bitcoin? Because a lot of people like try to find holes in people, and it's good. You have to be verifying the information you're taking. It's a big part of this whole journey here. You have to do that. But people shit on other people for doing like, maybe they were working on Wall Street, or maybe they were working for a hedge fund or working at a bank. But it's like, okay, but Bitcoin didn't exist then. So you can't really hold anything against people like that who were like in the old system or a bad part of the old system. It's like, do you think they were just sitting around waiting for Bitcoin to come? So anyways, my journey myself, my backstory in my prior life is a little less dramatic, I guess you'd say. I was just an accountant who got tired of it and kind of got forced out of my my job. I got tired of working in solitary. Let's say that. Accounting is hard enough, but when you have to do it locked in a little cage, basically by yourself and not able to see other people and talk to other people, it sounds like hell. So I stuck it out for a while, but eventually I was like, you know what? That's enough for me. And truth be told, I haven't spent one single second regretting that. So anyways, we're here now. We got Bodhi in both chats today. Good to be in this with y'all. Keep working hard and stacking sats with humility. All right, we got confirmation here. Bodhi says Bitcoin Generations is every Thursday at 2 p.m. Eastern time. Need to add that to my calendar, Bodhi. I blocked it from the Calendly link, but or my schedule on Calendly, but I haven't put it in my calendar yet. So I always have to ask. Holy. I might have to stop the show here and go see what Arnie's up to. Hold on, I'm going to mute myself. All right, it worked. It worked. Can't wait to go see what was going on out there. Charlie says, all my friends are talking about XRP, not Bitcoin. Isn't it sad? That's the saddest part for me. It's like, I get it. I get the fact that the average person, for the most part, just doesn't have any interest in learning, in buying, in investing, in whatever. Just what they don't have time. But it's like the people who have gone, put in the work to like try to understand why, you know, digital assets are kind of the future here. But then they just completely ignore Bitcoin and they focus on dumb shit like XRP or Caspa or who knows, anything, you name it. So that's just, I just don't get it. Caspa, BSV, it's insane. It's actually insane. No, they're not even good. Like, at least find like a good token that has some sort of utility there. XRP is like the exact opposite of Bitcoin. I can't stand XRP. Ethereum too is another one. Ian, afternoon gang, tip top Thursday, friends. Love the video with Mark you posted on the Patreon. More of that, my friend. Tad, that was a good one too. If you actually, I shared the specific clip from that on Patreon. So I cut out the first part of the show, and then I think it was about a half-hour clip of talking about Mark, of talking about Trump, of talking about Tesla, talking about time travel, and talking about the Titanic. That was all jammed into 30 minutes there. Trump's, Tesla, time travel, and the Titanic, and how they all tie together into Bitcoin. That was a good one. Honestly, if you got some time, if you actually want to explore, I would strongly recommend just joining. Check out the Bitcoin Q&A 1 and 2, and check out the, I named it that, Trump, time travel, and Tesla. Forgot Titanic, but you'll be able to find it. But that's what I mean. Like, that's the kind of stuff that I don't feel comfortable talking about here on the public channel. So that's the stuff we talk about on part 2s. Bodhi says, Charlie, direct him to the path toward the light. Everything else is darkness. That is absolutely true, Bodhi. Jason, good morning. Tom, good morning. We got Chill Zone. Chill Zone, that's a good name. I like that. We used to do Take It Easy Tuesdays here on the show, but that lasted like 2 weeks. Craig, then we stopped taking it easy. Craig's over there in Zapstream. Morning, Craig. Man, me and Craig, we got some stuff brewing right now with Superback stuff, with the Bitcoin Citadel. It's exciting. It's very exciting to me because there's just such a huge gap and there's such a huge spread of knowledge there. And there's going to be so many people who are, you know, needing that information. Hey now. Morning, Kyle. Bunny, good morning. Also known as, actually, I won't dox you, but I noticed you updated your name in the Signal chat yesterday. I didn't put 2 and 2 together. I didn't know that you were Bunny. So that's a tough thing. There's too many names, too many nims, too many different handles. Buck 52,000. Good morning, my friend. Work from home Thursdays. Oh, I love that. Honestly, people, I don't know. And it's not for everybody. That's the thing. Working from home is not for everybody. If you don't have the drive, I'm not claiming that I do. Like, it honestly took me probably a year and a half after leaving my job to like really, get things dialed in. And I'm still just like, it's a shit show. But I love working from home, especially with the dog. Like, imagine, it'd be in a different world, different path. It's crazy to think about those things. Like, if I hadn't left my job, if I haven't moved out here, we looked at probably 10 different dogs before Arnie was discovered. There's just like a lot of things like that, and everything for me working from home, getting to spend the majority of my days and time with hanging around Arnie. It's not like he's a kid or anything, but still, he deserves some interaction and some playtime, some love. Thursday. What did I say? Didn't I say it's Thursday? I don't know. Who knows? Good morning. Yeah, +2 in flat Saskatchewan today. Go figure. What a world we live. What a climate we live in here. 2 days ago it was like -35. I had like ski pants on, jacket, toque, scarf, heated mitts, and then yesterday it was like 0 degrees. And I was driving on the highway yesterday and it was just like black ice. There was a car flipped over right in front of me, like the emergency crew was still on hand there. There's about 5 or 6 cop cars, a couple ambulances, a big tow truck. There's a vehicle that went off the road and flipped over. Like, it must have happened like 10 minutes before me. It was bad yesterday. So that's what happens. You get really cold, then it's not really normal though for it to do that. So I don't know what's going on here. But yeah, anyways, +2 today. Go figure. All right, Paul, good morning, my friend. Paul's on, I was talking to Paul last night. Hey, Mav, look at this. We got Mav finally able to join live. Cheers, brother. Mav has to be, there's a lot of people. I don't like naming names because there's a lot of people who have supported the show and Bitcoin overall. But like Mav, one of the biggest supporters I've seen within Bitcoin in terms of Noster and Zapstream, and just trying to help the Bitcoin network grow. I love that. So thank you, Mav. 4.2 sats or 4.2 thousand sats from our guy Mav. Paul though, Paul's a new Noster user. Actually, just shared one of his songs today on Noster. So go check that out. It's actually about kind of the current climate of the world, some war stuff, some Bitcoin stuff. It's a really good song. I was very impressed listening to it last night. Kind of a rock song, alternative rock song. I don't know what you'd call it. I don't want to confuse anybody here, to get something wrong. But anyways, go check out my Noster page, and I shared Paul's video from today. It's his music video, and make sure you give him a follow on there as well. We got to support each other. We are all on Team Bitcoin. Remember that always. Ian says Fridays and Saturdays are great at the cafe. Earn a lot more fiat for sats. Yeah, I would say so. I would say so. Hey, look at this. Buck 52,000 said Nikola Tesla famously said, "If you only knew the magnificence of the 369, then you would have the key to the universe." Speaking of that, there's 69 people watching in here right now on YouTube. That was kind of crazy. But yeah, there's something there for sure. I don't understand it myself. I don't know the magnificence of it, so I don't have the key to the universe. But clearly there's a trick out there that somebody knows in some sort of document. Maybe Tesla, maybe John Trump, maybe Donald Trump, maybe Barron Trump. +10 in Alberta. Holy shit. January 16th, +10. I guess we got to start paying more climate tax here. Or what's it called? Yeah, climate tax. Michael Cormier, morning from Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. Oh man, Michael, one of my favorite spots in the world. Cape Breton. We've been there a couple times. We actually golfed Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs. Very one of my favorite days of my life. Thoughts on XRP profits going into Bitcoin? No. Thoughts on trading whatever XRP you have today for Bitcoin? Yes. Come on. We know the answer to that. Akil, good morning, my friend. Hey, Steven, look at this. What a beautiful chat we got going today. Steven, Morningjor and Bitcoiners, all the way from Ireland, one of my other favorite spots, Ireland. Kekistani says, I think HBAR will be the king of alts. I think MicroStrategy will be the king of alts. Although I'm starting to change my mind a little bit here. Hold on. I did not think that there was going to be an alt season this time around, but I've kind of changed my mind on that. Seems to be a lot of talk within the Trump, Saylor, Lutnick administration about crypto. So we'll see. I'm honestly to me with crypto, I kind of honestly, and there's probably going to be some Bitcoiners who disagree with me on this, but that's okay. That's what life's about. But I do actually think that crypto's fine. It is. Like I was listening to Dr. Jeff Ross yesterday, and he was all butthurt by crypto. And it's like, who cares? Who cares? And I love Jeff, so I'm not trying to shit on him here or anything. I know he'll never watch this, I'm sure. But like, who cares? There could be a bazillion, quadrillion altcoins out there. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter because all that money, all that capital is eventually going to flow into Bitcoin. It is, unless those alts are in the long term bringing more value than Bitcoin is. It's all going to flow into Bitcoin. And whenever somebody signs up for a wallet or an exchange account or anything, that capital will eventually find its way to Bitcoin. So who cares? And I honestly do think that these things are going to exist either way. And for me, I would rather see it actually regulated fairly and ethically, as Saylor would say, because it just makes sense. We're living in like a digital economy right now. So why wouldn't we have tokens for everything? Why wouldn't everything be on this phone? It's all the same shit. But if you can have an actual framework and legal structure and done ethically, then why not? Who cares? I'm not going to buy any. I'm not going to gamble on them, but who cares? Okay, we got some chat here. Giacomo. Okay, so I thought Yakimo or Yakimo. I said Guacamo. Mugatu says Giacomo, and the Giacomo himself says it's pronounced like Giacomo. Okay, I can remember that. Good morning, Lock Sky. That is a cool name. Giacomo. Giacomo Ravioli. Oh, he got even better somehow. That's one of my favorite parts of the show is just seeing the different names on here. It's fun. Lox Guy, good morning. We got Rick Costa in the chat today in the house. Let me check on Rumble here quickly. How's Rumble doing? Anybody watching over there? Two people. Adam's over there. Good morning, Adam. I think I saw Adam's name in here too. Yep. Adam's on Rumble and YouTube. Love that. All right. Live good with Sabian. Small minds are entertained by small shitcoins. That is true. And people with a very high time preference, people who don't have any sort of patience and think that they can turn $1,000 into $100,000 and get rid of all their problems in a month. That's who buys altcoins. Oh, River Black, you're going to like this, my friend. I got a full segment coming today about what I think about silver and what I did with silver. It's fun. It's a good one. It's a good one. I got two really good segments today that I'm going to talk about. I was going to split them up between today and tomorrow, but we're actually having a guest on the show tomorrow here. So I won't be able to bullshit like I usually do. All right, we got our first zap today to Arnie's wallet. This one right here for 76 sats. No comment with it, but 76 sats. Thank you. So River Block, if you're still here, make sure you stick around because I got some good stuff to talk about. Maverick, good morning, my friend. Galaxy Tile. Silver, nice color. Yeah, that's true. Bond says, being self-employed, hardest thing I ever done. Yeah, I'm with you, man. I'm with you. It's hardest, but it's the most rewarding. That's what I would say. Can't imagine living in Canada. Got to move to El Salvador when you make it. Nah, I don't think so. I might spend a couple months in El Salvador. That's my plan. That's where I want to work towards in life. It's my direction I'm going to. I want to be able to, I want to add enough value to people's lives that I can afford to live somewhere else for 2 or 3 years or 2 or 3 months every year. Whether that's El Salvador, whether that's Florida, whether that's Nashville, whether that's, who knows, anywhere. New Zealand. I'm panicked. I don't have enough Bitcoin. Yeah, join the club, man. Join the club. None of us have it. Actually, let's touch on that. That's funny. Because I told you guys, actually, maybe that was on the private show yesterday. I was talking about it. But anyways, I had about an hour and a half conversation with one of my buddies, one of the only friends I have in real life that are into Bitcoin. And we were talking about it, and he was talking about altcoins and a few other things. And he's always been an altcoiner. So I wasn't like trying to convince him to sell them and buy Bitcoin. Like, he's done very well, actually. He's probably a year or two older than me, and he's retired from altcoins. So I'm not going to try to talk him out of it, but at the same time, he's had a tough couple years in terms of like the altcoins, like because they went really high. He had a lot of net worth, and then they all dropped by about 99%. So he still was able to, I don't want to say too much here, but he does very well for himself. But anyways, I was talking about Bitcoin, and I was talking about how the impact if the US starts buying Bitcoin and starts creating a strategic stockpile, what that's going to do, and just kind of playing out different scenarios. And he was like, oh man, I just realized I don't have enough Bitcoin. And I was like, yeah, me too. That was kind of my first reaction. I was like, I think about that every day. But then I was like, if that's the truth, if that actually, if what I think is going to happen actually happens, then I actually have plenty of Bitcoin. Like, without an amount, let's say that I even had a quarter of a Bitcoin. You'd think that you don't have enough Bitcoin, but you also, if you understand where it's going and you think that you need more, then you actually do have enough Bitcoin. If you think about it like that, and that's kind of how I think about it now, is like, if this thing plays out like I think it's going to, like, I have plenty, more than I'll ever even need for the next 10 generations. And I don't have a lot. Trust me. I'm doing my best to get as much as I can, but I got here in 2020 or 2019. So it was like 60. When I started buying a lot of it, like I kind of bought some, when I was buying alts, I was like, oh, I got to have some Bitcoin in here as part of my balanced portfolio. So I bought some Bitcoin, but it wasn't much. So I was buying it at 60 grand. So it's not like I have a huge amount right now, unfortunately. But again, if you understand where this is going, I have plenty. That's what I'm trying to say here. So don't panic, Sean. Just do what you can. Aiden says, Uncle Jack was talking about how important light is. I imagine you can't get much sun in Canada. Yeah, I mean, that would be one of the main reasons I actually decide to move. Not move, but like go somewhere else for a few months, is just for the sun, honestly. And being able to touch the earth here where I live, like, we got snow for 5 or 6 months a year. Arnie loves it, but like, you can't touch the earth. You go outside for 5 minutes and your face freezes off. Some days, not today. But like, today would be one of the most mild days in history in Manitoba. And this would be like the coldest it ever gets in other places of the world. Buck52 says, I like the Hall of Mirrors analogy. Buy Bitcoin and keep going straight. Yep. Stay focused. Stay focused. That was from a video we watched on the private Q&A yesterday too. Silver is shitcoin. I agree. Nick, good morning, my friend. Hey, Wood Butcher's over in the Zap stream. Sup, freaks. They make clothing for cold temps. Yeah, I'm wearing one. One of my favorite hoodies here. The King stuff. Actually, I think one of my goals for 2025 and 2026. Oh, wrong side there. It's a beauty. This is a beauty hoodie. But one of my goals for 2025-26 is actually change routes for King Golf. Like this is our company, King Golf. We make hats, head covers, and hoodies. Pretty much. And we get some other stuff too. But one of my goals in the next couple of years is actually to change to Fork and actually focus a lot less time on Facebook, Instagram, the traditional ways. And I'm going to lean a lot more into like Noster stuff. And I kind of have been for the last couple of years slowly doing that. But I'm actually going to shift. I'm going to shift the focus from the demographics of like locally here in Manitoba and the prairies to actually being global. The majority of our sales for like the last 6 months have come from outside of Canada, which is kind of crazy. And so I'm going to lean in on that a little bit. I understand that there's a lot of there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there who love golf, and there's a lot of Bitcoiners out there who are happy to support other Bitcoiners' ventures, and for good stuff too. Like we take a lot of pride in the quality of our stuff. From day one, that was kind of our motto: is King Golf, the highest standard of quality and everything. So if you want to get some King Golf stuff, by the way, I don't even have this in my show notes, which is really stupid. I don't know why I've been so shitty at this. But anyways, I'll just show you something here quickly from King Golf, just in case there's anybody out there. So we got a bunch of different hats, bunch of different designs, but these are the head covers that we make. And I don't know how interested people are in golf here, but these are the Frankie. This has been our best selling head cover for like the last year. It was actually made orange initially, which tied very well into Bitcoin. But this is the idea here: a new design Frankie. The cover is a blend between the infamous Eddie Van Halen guitar Frankenstrat and the head cover on Tiger Woods' bag, Frank. So that was the original concept there. We sold a lot of these Frankie head covers in the last year, but they're in white, and red's actually been the best seller for some reason. I guess not everybody loves orange as much as us. But yeah, that's that. All these head covers are made right here in Manitoba, actually, handmade with genuine leather. So very high quality stuff. We probably don't charge enough for it. Our competitors probably charge 2 or 3x what we charge. But we get a lot of sales from their runoff. So anyways, if you're a golfer, if you know any golfers in your life, send them to King Golf, KNGGolf.ca. And I'm going to have a discount code here too. I wonder if I should do that now. I think I'm actually going to give 21% off to the channel here for viewers. That's a big one. So I don't know how I'm going to do it yet, but anyways, I'm not going to set it up here live on the show, but if you want anything from the website, kinggolf.ca, I will honor your 21% off if you pay in Bitcoin too. That's the other caveat there. So maybe I'll put 21 for Bitcoin and then maybe like 11 for fiat. That makes more sense to me. Anyways, just reach out. All my contact info if you ever need to get a hold of me about anything. And I don't want to say I regret saying it, but my inbox has been pretty full lately. So apologies if it's a little bit delayed there. All right. What do we got here? It's used in too many commodities. Silver we're talking about. If it appreciated too much, it would make a computer cost $25K. Yeah. Silver is very, very manipulated. Very manipulated. Has been for a lot of years now. Logan says, can you briefly explain what is a wallet versus a cold wallet versus a hardware wallet, etc.? Wanting to do self-storage, but don't fully understand everything. Logan, I would say 2 things to you, my friend. I'm not going to do that on the show today because that would take me about 10, 15 minutes probably. And we got other things to talk about. So Logan, go over to Rajat. I actually think it's in the show notes now. I'm pretty sure I put it in there. But I did a show with Rajat earlier this week on Monday, and all we talked about was wallets and storage stuff. And if you want to take it a little bit further in terms of like how you should do it based on your current setup, I talked about this for about 20, 30 minutes yesterday on the private Q&A. So 2 options there, or both. I would say do both if you want to take it seriously. But check out Rajat's video on his channel. Should be a link below. We talked about it for about 40 minutes. And then go to the Join the Living the Future in the show notes from Patreon, and you'll have access to every video. But yesterday's Q&A number 002, I spent about 20 or 30 minutes on specifically storage and making sure that if your house were to burn down, if somebody were to break into your house, how you can actually counter a lot of that. 8 million sats will be enough in 10 years. Okay, let's get into that right now, actually. Hey, Save Seattle. Sorry I put you in a timeout the other day. Apologize for that. Bitcoin cycle. Hunter Biden's laptop. What's up? Try to get a whole coin, and if you can, after that, 2.1 coins, and you'll be good for retirement and partying anywhere in the world. Okay, I like that. I like partying all around the world. Spaceman says, I'm not a golfer, but I want a set of Van Halen head covers. There's actually somebody on Noster about 6 months ago. He wasn't a golfer either, but he's like, I want to put those on my tools, I think. He's like, I'm gonna buy one of those Bitcoin head covers and put them on my tools. Something like that. But it was the same kind of idea. All right. Charlie says, I listened too much to Bix Weir. I could have been buying Bitcoin. I know. I was in the same boat, man. I was in the same boat. So 2 things we're going to talk about today. And I can't go on forever today because I do have a meeting, but I got a lot of time here. So we're going to have a couple really good chats here today. Now that we're all warmed up after 37 minutes of bullshit here. South Florida is perfect. Good morning, Andrew. In the winter, except for all the people. Yeah. I don't doubt that. Florida is going to be one of the wildest places on the planet. Speaking of light, what's the deal with blue light? Haven't gone in that rabbit hole yet. Ooh, neither have I. I'm not going to pretend like I have, but I have started doing red light every morning to kind of mirror a sunrise because I can't stand outside here when it's minus 30 and watch the sunrise. Plus, I do my show during that time. So I've actually, one of the members of the community here actually sent me a red light. They said, you need to be healthy. We need you to be healthy. And we can't enjoy our Bitcoin unless we're healthy. And I was like, yeah, you're right. So they actually sent me, this was like the first gift that I ever got from like a community member, a red light thing. So I've been using it every morning for the last 2 weeks and I love it. Absolutely love it. And it'll probably take longer for it to actually take effect. But instantly, it just felt like I was laying on a beach. Like, you know, the feeling of like laying on a lawn chair, lawn chair on the beach with just, you can kind of just see the red. You can't, it's kind of hot. Love that. So I have 2 lights coming. I'm actually going to be working with a new company that offers this. I got 2 lights that I'm going to put behind my computer screen here that kind of counteract the blue light. That's the idea of it. It's for people who spend all day looking at their computers, the blue light, and then a set of glasses for the nighttime. They're nice gold ones, so I can watch TV and go on my phone at night. It's a big part of it. I mean, I don't have the science. I haven't spent enough time learning about it, but absolutely there's something there. And I absolutely believe that it was manufactured by the evil people in this world. Like the flickering of it, there's a lot of shit there. Jack Kruse, I think, is one of the big guys talking about that right now. And thank God for that, because I would have had no idea. Between blue light, between seed oils, oh man, just think about in the last 4 years, like how much information has come out. And then go back even further, go 8 years since 2016. And what happened in 2016? I feel like there was a big kind of event there, big fork in the road. But if you think about what's happened and what's, how much information has come out in the last 8 years, it's actually mind blowing. And people are like, oh, nothing's happening. No, nobody drained the swamp. It's like, think about the last 8 years between like Hollywood stuff, between the music industry, between big pharma, between the media, between politicians, between blue light and seed oils. Like, there's so much information that has come out that nobody had any idea about before. Jason says part of it ruins your health by disrupting your circadian rhythm, sleep cycle. Yes. And as we know, sleep is a pretty big part of life, right? We evolved with sunlight. Now we are indoors under fake light most of our lives. Alien world. Yeah, the crazy thing for me, the thing that really set me off was the LEDs. Like they just kind of rolled out, and it was actually during Obama's reign, I think, reign of terror. Obama's reign of terror. That's when I found out that this all happened when Obama was president. It made way more sense. But like, you know how they made basically everybody shift to like, what were the old ones called? Was it incandescent? I might just be making that up. That might be like a 300-year-old technology. But anyways, they made everybody shift to LED lights. Obama. And everybody's like, oh, we can see more. It's brighter. It looks nicer. But if you knew the evil intention behind that, it's sickening. Truly sickening. So anyways, I didn't know any of that. I didn't know any of that until recently. So Badger says, just getting into mining with a bit axe. Could you recommend any public pools? Which one do I use? I should know this off the top of my head. I should know this. That's probably, I knew it wasn't going to work. I forget what it is. The website's called, I don't know. I'm sorry about that. I should know. I know it's not Brains. I know it's not Ocean. But it's the one that defaults to BitAxe. So I don't know. Yeah, the banning of incandescent light. Okay, I was right. Oh, I'm impressed with myself. I'm usually pretty out to lunch with that kind of stuff. Very hard to find incandescent lights in Canada now. Yeah. Fucking crazy, eh? Crazy. Anyways, we're going in the right direction. That's what I'll say. Thank God. Matt says LED headlights on cars and trucks are terrible. That's one of my biggest pet peeves on earth. One of my biggest pet peeves on earth is how bright LED headlights are. They're a hazard, I believe. Like, they're an actual liability to the world. And it seems like every year, the vehicles, the new model, basically all the changes in them is like their fucking headlights are brighter. And if you've ever driven at night, as I'm sure most people have here, and you have like these bright lights that aren't even like the brights coming at you, it's blinding. And you're going head on 120 kilometers an hour, and you can't see anything. Like, there has to be some sort of common sense and logic here, and just say like, okay, enough is enough. We don't need these to be any brighter. You could see them from outer space. That's one of my biggest issues with with everything. It's just like, what are we doing here? Okay, CK Pool. Craig says solo.ckpool is the default for the BitAxe. Yeah, that sounds right. That sounds right. This is the kind of stuff you get over on Zapstream. You get links from Craig, which everybody could use more of. There's a tablet called Daylight Computer that emits no blue light. Yeah, I've seen those. They're pretty expensive though, aren't they? Okay, let's get into this. Let's go back to, what was the question here? Oh, Logan, I was going to say, I don't know if you're still here or not, but I was going to say one thing you could do, and one thing I would actually recommend everybody do, is just join the Patreon. You can actually sign. I don't know how many spots are left though. I think it's almost full, but you can actually join on a free trial for a week. And you could just go watch a few of those videos, cancel. I don't care, honestly. I'd rather people actually get the information. But I'm sure you'll stick around. There's you get all the videos, you get access to the Signal group chat, the community there, the Discord, and the private Q&As too, which I think is going to be very valuable to people. But you could join. You can go watch that video from like the Titanic, Trump, Tesla, time travel, and the Q&As, and then just cancel it. You could do that. I don't care. All right. So let's get into this here. But what was I going to talk about? There's a question here. Greatest regret of my life. Let's start with this. So this what I'm about to talk about here, I think I'm going to title this one "The Greatest Bitcoin Trade of All Time." And I actually want to I want to do a new series on the channel here called Time Capsule, because I really believe. So let me preface this with one part here. So yesterday on the private Q&A, I think it was Jason. He said that Bitcoin buys more time. Bitcoin, what was it? I'm pretty sure Bitcoin buys time, and that's what I named the show today, because I wanted to dive a little bit further into that. So the example that I gave yesterday and this is going to lead to the silver and the regrets and what we can do about it. So on the show yesterday, I gave an example. I said, if you're somebody out there, and this is kind of like the average person in the world, honestly, they go to work, they can barely afford food, they can barely afford gas, rent. Most people don't have a whole lot of disposable income right now. Of course, there's a lot to do, but it's a small percentage now. So most people are just kind of fighting to get by. They don't have a whole lot of disposable income. They don't have a whole lot of capital that they can actually allocate into Bitcoin. So what I said was, you don't have to get another job. I mean, maybe let's think about this in 3 different tiers. But anyways, let's start with the bottom one. Just take a look around your house. And why does Bitcoin buy you time? Because the sats that you buy today, for however you obtain those, they're going to get you a significant amount of purchasing power in the future. So the assumption here is that Bitcoin is going to continue to go up. The assumption here is that Bitcoin's currently at a $2 trillion market cap. And the inactive assets of the world, if you're still measuring in that system, is about 450 trillion. So I believe over these next couple decades, that 450 trillion of inactive assets, people just putting their money there to try to preserve some of the purchasing power, the majority of that is going to flow into Bitcoin. That's the assumption here over the next couple decades. So you take 2 trillion to 450 trillion. You can do the math on that. So what I was saying is, you could just take a look around your house. Take a look around your house. You could probably find 2, 3, 4 things for $100 each. Start there. So you got, let's say $300. You scraped up a few different items, maybe an old jacket, maybe some old silver coins, maybe an old watch, some old jewelry. Okay, I don't want to forget about that either, because I was actually, I was at a silver dealer yesterday, and there was a lady that came in and dumped a whole bunch of jewelry in there. This is what I mean. This is the stuff that bothered me. So she got in there about 2 minutes or 2 seconds before me. She walked in right in front of me with the bag of stuff. And so I had to wait there for about half an hour, which I didn't love. But anyways, I was kind of paying attention to what was going on there. Nothing else to do, literally nothing else to do in there. And she said that her daughter didn't want it. So she had this bag of jewelry. Her daughter didn't want it. And the guy at the silver guy is like, well, I'm sure she'll appreciate the cash. And she's like, she's not getting the cash. And I was like, that's just such a good representation of like how fucking lazy people are now. Your mom says, do you want this jewelry? And they're just like, nah, no thanks. You don't have to go down to the silver dealer tomorrow, but like understand what is valued there. And then I'm sure if the mom said, here, do you want a Starbucks gift card for $10? They'd go bananas. But like an old bag of gold, silver jewelry, nah, don't need it, don't want it. So anyways, going back to what I was saying here, take a look around your house. And let's say you get $300. Start there. I think that's very obtainable for people. Spend half an hour looking around your house. You could find things to sell between Facebook Marketplace, a local classifieds, eBay, whatever, $300. So you take that, you buy Bitcoin. Today, you'd get about 300,000 sats. Okay. So you took $300, things laying around your house, you convert it to 300,000 sats. You hold on to that for a while. Let's say 10, 15 years. Think about that 300,000 in the future, 300,000 sats, what that's going to be worth in the future. If, under my assumption, Bitcoin takes a lot of that $450 trillion market share, Bitcoin will be about $1 per sat. So $1 per sat, you get 300,000 sats in purchasing power. You just bought yourself 3 or 4 years of time or more, because if it's Bitcoin and you actually didn't earn that income, and who knows what the taxes will be like at that point, but you probably won't pay any tax on that either in the future. So you got 300,000 sats, 3 or 4 years, plus non-taxable, so maybe 5 or 6 years. That's how Bitcoin buys you more time, because you can trade literal junk today and turn that into 3 or 4 years of time in the future, just by waiting. Nothing else has to happen. And wait until you see what I'm about to talk about with NVIDIA and comparing it to Bitcoin. That'll be a separate clip or a separate thought here. So that's how Bitcoin buys time. And the beauty of that, and that's the reason I think every single person out there should take this seriously, is because there's no risk. There's zero risk. You take a couple old items around your house. Worst case, that $300 that you put into Bitcoin goes to zero. Worst case, who cares? It was from stuff that you had laying around your house. Like, every single person on earth should be doing this today. But that's how Bitcoin buys you more time. That's how you should look at anything today. Is like, anytime you can trade fake assets or old assets or inactive assets that you're not benefiting from into a real asset like Bitcoin, which is going to be the future reserve capital of the planet. You have to do that. You have to take that right now. So that's the first part. And so what I did yesterday was I traded my silver. I took a lot of my silver from the house, as Charlie was talking about here. Listen to Bix Weir too much. I could have been buying Bitcoin, the greatest regret of my life. But the only thing that's going to be even more regretful is if you hold on to that for even longer. So cut your losses. It's a sunk cost. You can convert that silver into Bitcoin, which I did yesterday. And that's going to be the first episode of Time Capsule. So what I'm going to start doing here is every time I trade something for Bitcoin, I'm going to make like a time capsule about it. So yesterday I took some silver that I had in the house. Let's say I got $2,000 for it. I took it down to the store, traded it in. It was just sitting in my safe. You can't do anything with it. It's not like I'm ever going to use that for anything. And when I explain what I did with it, I think that you'll get a kick out of that. So I took silver, converted it to $2,000. I think I took a loss on it, actually, because I didn't feel like selling it on eBay and going through that bullshit. So I think I took a loss on it. But let's say I took 2,000. So what would that get me? I actually went to the store after and bought a bunch of meat. So this is the greatest trade in Bitcoin history here. I took silver that was doing nothing, literally just sitting in my house, doing nothing, pet rocks. And so silver people are like, well, technology is going to need them. If there's ever a Mad Max scenario, I'm going to need these. They've held their value over time. Really, silver was worth more in the 80s than it is today. So I took that, doing nothing for me, adding nothing to my life. I took it and I got, what would I get here? So I bought about a lot of beef. So let's say I have $1,700. Let's go with that. So I took a bunch of silver, turned it into $2,000 cash, bought some beef, which to me, if you think about it, like, what would you rather have? And this is the thought process in my head yesterday too. And I was hungry. It was about 3 or 4 o'clock in the afternoon. And I was like, you know what? I'm going to take some of this cash. I'm going to go buy beef. And so that's the difference there, is that you can't eat silver. And I took that silver and I exchanged it for beef. That the beef is more important to me than silver, something that I can eat. And so that's what I'm thinking. Like if you're holding silver and waiting for like this Mad Max scenario of like, oh, maybe one day the power goes out and there's somebody who's going to come to my house and or I'm going to be touring around with my silver in my pocket and I'm going to go offer them a couple silver coins for one of their steaks. Nobody in their right mind is ever going, in a situation like that, nobody in their right mind is ever going to trade silver for beef or gold for beef or anything like that. In that type of scenario, you need food, water, and bullets. So even today, when the power's on, when I could buy whatever I want to, in that situation, I still took silver and bought food. So anyways, let's get to the trade here. So let's say I got I took silver, I bought $2,000 worth, or I got $2,000 worth of cash, minus the beef. So let's say 1,700. So I got 1.2 million sats. So timestamp this. January 16th, 2025, I took silver from my house that was doing nothing. I converted that into 10 steaks and 1.2 million sats. Let's see. Maybe the beef probably isn't going to hold its value through the next decade, but let's see what's worth more. I think it was about 75 or 80 ounces of silver. I'm pretty sure. Let me just double check that too for time purposes. I got kind of ripped off, honestly, but anyways. So let's say 80 times, I think it was like 35 per ounce. Yeah, about that. So let's say 70 ounces of silver. 70 ounces of silver for 10 steaks and 1.2 million sats. The greatest trade, the greatest Bitcoin trade of all time. That's been Time Capsule Bitcoin episode number 1. Plunger says silver is still an asset. You were trading an asset for a better asset. That's all. Yeah, that's what I mean. But I just hate the thought of why people hold silver. Again, because they think that because of technology, it's going to be in demand. Like the government's going to come to their house and say, "Sir, do you have any silver? We would like to offer you $100,000 per coin because we need it for technology." Like that's what actually people think is going to happen. It's like, no, maybe in the 1600s, people would be looking for gold and silver, but we're not. We're living in a high-tech world now. People want to be able to spend their money. They want their money and capital to be able to store their wealth. Silver, to me, I bought it 4 years ago. I lost. I lost. So I bought it 4 years ago, let's say 4 or 5 years ago, and I lost on the trade. Imagine if I would have bought Bitcoin back then instead. So instead of, having regrets and instead of thinking about what if that, what if this, I just traded it. So that's been episode 1 of Time Capsule. All right, what else? What do we have here? Yeah, this everybody hates this. Okay, I'm glad I'm not the only one on here. Giacomo says, "Oh my God, I cannot stand the current trend of the hellish car lights. I have to drive with my brights on to counter theirs." Exactly. It makes no sense. Like somebody's coming down the road and I flash them because I think that their brights are on. Then they flash me and I'm like, oh my God, it's even brighter. Many people upgrade their headlights and ignore the fact that some of the headlights are for off-road. Yeah. I mean, people should actually get tickets for being that's one ticket that I could get behind. Because here's the thing. This is how backwards society is right now. You're driving down the road and you don't have a seatbelt on, you get a ticket. I've probably gotten 5 seatbelt tickets in my life. I was a very bad driver for the first couple of years. I lost my license twice. I was very mischievous, we'll say. But so I got these tickets for not wearing a seatbelt. $300, $400 plus my license gets more expensive. But I'm not harming anybody there. Like, yeah, it's stupid not to wear a seatbelt, I think. But I'm still not harming anybody there. Whereas people who are driving either too slow, that's a liability on the road, or with super bright lights on the road, they're harming people. That should be the focus, not like people, whatever they're doing on their own, like whether they're not wearing their seatbelt, whether their tint in their window is too dark, whether they have, like we're worried about the wrong shit here. That's what I'm trying to say. So hopefully, I don't know if things will ever change, but anyways, Plunger's up 210 sats. Thank you, my friend. Let's see if Arnie's wallet's got any zaps here. Yeah, we got a couple. Sorry, I missed these on my little rant there. Arnie sats, 188 sats. Thanks for the daily show. Thank you. Appreciate those. Appreciate those a lot. Plunger says they kept talking about how much of a deficit we are in when it comes to silver every year. More is purchased or used compared to how much is mined. It's bullshit. Market manipulation. Yeah, I mean, it's true. Like I fully buy into the theory of like silver is a very valuable commodity. It's significantly underpriced compared to gold. Like, I don't think gold should come down to what silver is worth. I think that silver should actually be what gold is worth or more. But the fact is like, you can still make more of it. Like Mexico's full of silver. And if the price of silver went up to $5,000 an ounce, guess what would happen? They would just find more silver. And you cannot do that with Bitcoin. You can't do that with Bitcoin. Asalam. Yeah, I recognize that name. I think I've seen you a couple times in the replay show. Okay, let me try to do this as fast as I can because I still have another very important topic I want to talk about. So which hardware wallet do you think is better among Trezor, Bitbox, Jade, and Coldcard? Could you share your thoughts on the pros and cons of each? That's a pretty heavy question for a YouTube chat. That would either take a super chat or a nice fat zap to get a full-fledged answer on that one. That's not a free question you toss around in here, but I'll address it briefly. I would say if I had to choose one of those, it would be Coldcard. And the reason I said it is because that's how I hold my Bitcoin. I have a Jade, which I like. I love the Jade. The only problem for me with the Jade is the camera and the QR code on. But other than that, like it is a very good device. And I think that if you're somebody who's just getting into Bitcoin, it's very easy. I would say if you're somewhat new to Bitcoin, I would go with the Jade. If you're somewhat experienced in Bitcoin, I would level up to the Coldcard. But the nice thing is that as you evolve through Bitcoin, like you could take that Jade that you start with, and then after a couple of years, you get a lot more familiar with the process and the security and everything. You get a Coldcard, and then you maybe get a Trezor too, or another Jade, and then you create a multi-sig setup within those. So it's not like you just throw out your Jade. It's not like it's going to be old technology. You keep your Jade, you add the Coldcard, you add another one, and you have a multi-sig. Or you just use the Jade as like a decoy wallet. So that's kind of how I think about that. It really depends on where you are in your Bitcoin journey and how familiar you are with using hardware devices. So I hope that helps. I'm not going to get into each one. I've actually never used the Bitbox, but I know there's a lot of smart people within Bitcoin who use it. And again, that's just one part of the equation though too. That's just one part of it. You really have to pay attention, just as much attention, I would say, to how you're storing your recovery phrase. That's just as important. And so you start with paper, you get a nice thick sheet of paper, you put it in a very safe place when you're first getting into Bitcoin. Maybe you're safe, maybe somewhere. Eventually you add a passphrase to that. So you can maybe leave it with the bank or your lawyer or whoever, add a passphrase. So you just leave the 12 words with them, keep the passphrase yourself. And then you evolve to like steel plate, titanium plate. You keep that in a separate place from your device. And then eventually in the future, once you're there, you start encrypting your recovery phrase. So it's not just about the hardware device. You could have the most secure hardware device on the planet, unhackable. But if you have your 12 or 24 words sitting beside it in plain text, your Bitcoin's gone. And it took me a couple of years to figure that out myself. So I'm definitely not going to sit here and pretend like I have a perfect setup. I'm still transitioning from like the paper, steel to encrypted. But I'm aware of it and I'm taking actionable steps to do that. So that's kind of the process there. That's my thoughts on it. Pay just as close attention to your recovery phrase and how you're storing that as opposed to your hardware device. Wood Butcher says silver has demonetized since 1913. Yep. Silver dealers just trying to make a buck. Yeah, it's just too manipulated for me. Too manipulated. I hate manipulation. So that's why I like Bitcoin. It's the freest, it's the closest thing to a free market that exists. One day a few sats will buy a loaf of bread. Absolutely. That's why you should be doing absolutely everything that you can to get it. I actually put out a video a couple days ago, how to earn free Bitcoin. How to earn free Bitcoin. And the free Bitcoin is not going to be around forever either. If you've been in Bitcoin for a few years now, the incentives and the rewards on those apps have basically diminished to a small fraction of what they were, and they will only keep going down. It's like 10 years ago, we talked about the Bitcoin pizza. Somebody paid 10,000 Bitcoin for 2 pizzas, which is crazy. But in 10 years from now, they're going to be saying the same thing about where we are today in terms of you could shake your phone or you could take a poll on ZBD and earn 50 sats just for taking a poll. That's how people in 10 years from now are going to look back on today. And a lot of people don't realize that. They won't take a couple seconds of their day to just earn some free sats. Timber Crusher says, I feel really bad for the precious metal stackers. We are pulling an arbitrage play on them by dumping precious metals on them while they gobble it up. It's their choice, though. Study Bitcoin. I actually talked to the guy yesterday as he was paying me cash for the silver. I was like, he's like, well, this will be, I said, I'm going to have a hard time parting with this. I love silver. I've been buying it for a few years now. We're talking about how much of a ripoff eBay is. And he's like, yeah, but at least you'll be able to spend it now. And I was like, well, I'm not going to spend it. This is probably the majority of this is going to go into Bitcoin. And I felt obviously a little bit not scared to talk about it, but the guy's a silver dealer, so I don't imagine he's a huge fan of Bitcoin. But he's like, yeah, I love Bitcoin. They're the same. They share the same principles. I don't have much myself, but I definitely understand the need for it. Oh, that's why, because we were talking about selling things on eBay. And I was like, I understand how much I'm getting ripped off on the silver right now. And he's like, well, yeah, if you went and sold it on eBay, like they take 20 or 25%, you'd have to worry about the buyer possibly, charge a chargeback or like putting a claim in. And I'm like, that's just such it's absolute bullshit that that's allowed to happen still. And then I was like, one of the things I'm going to put a lot of this money into is Bitcoin. And actually Bitcoin solves that problem. You can't, once you send Bitcoin, nobody can do a chargeback on you. So as a seller, as a business owner or a seller of anything, that's a huge thing. Like chargebacks are just such a trend, such a scam. And with Bitcoin, you can't do any chargebacks. You can't fix that, or not fix it, but you can't go back on it essentially. Right. Zane says, I hold Litecoin too for the silver, kind of thinking for Bitcoin. Yeah, that's fair. I don't have a whole lot of Litecoin myself, but I do think that Litecoin will be one of the ones that does stick around. It just makes sense. It has a lot of the same principles. I mean, it's not the same as Bitcoin. I understand that, but it has many of the same principles as Bitcoin, and very quick, very easy to move around. So we'll see. I think that certain retailers, certain businesses, certain countries will be using different altcoins like Litecoin. Oh, Daniel, look at this. We got a somewhat fat zap from Daniel today. I would call that a fat zap. 888 sats. That's why I think it's a fat one. I'd rather have 888 sats than 900, just because of the number. Thank you, Daniel. Late to the party, but he's still here. All right, what else we got going on here? Bimetal standard is an emergent solution to a poor divisibility of gold, not an issue with Bitcoin. Correct. Sold my silver for Bitcoin. Nice. Sabian says, I love my Bitbox and Jade. And there you go. Yeah, you can't really go wrong, I don't think, with any of those 4 that we mentioned there. Except Trezor. I like Trezor itself. Trezor was actually the first hardware wallet. And it was actually the creator of the first hardware wallet, Trezor, that had a hand in developing the super-backed software. So that's kind of cool. When you got privacy experts and security experts, you're in the right spot. Yeah, Rick says they used to have Bitcoin faucet sites where you could get free Bitcoin every day. That's the other thing I was going to say to that is like, if you don't have anything around your house to sell, but you still understand where this thing's going to, like you should be taking some of your time every day and going onto ZBD and getting sats, because those sats that you get today for free for taking a poll or for listening to a podcast or for playing solitaire, that's going to buy you time in the future. ZBD last year used to give thousands of sats to play games. Now it's in the hundreds. Yep. And it's going to continue to go down too. For sure. Of course. It just makes sense, right? All right. Let's... M. Vincent says, if I DCA once a week, is there a day that is statistically better? I do Fridays, but would change if another day is better. No. No. There's no day that's better. And actually, I was watching Jerry's video last night, and he was talking about how he said that, like on his show, he's like, I would hold off on buying Bitcoin for a few days here because I think the price is going to drop. And actually, I think it was his nephew that he told to hold off on. And so he's apologizing. He's like, sorry, I didn't mean to give bad advice. I thought the price was going to go down a bit. I'm sorry. You sound like a Canadian. But I commented and I said, Jerry, like, don't ever apologize for one. Like, don't ever apologize for stuff that you actually believed. It's different if you were intentionally lying to somebody and then you say sorry. But like, who cares? He has a free channel. People show up if they want to. They're not paying him for the advice. So who cares? You don't have to apologize for that. But the other thing I said there is that he said the one thing I do know about Bitcoin is it always does the opposite of what you think it's going to do, which is true. But I said the one thing I know about Bitcoin is that anytime you can take fake, illusionary money or assets and convert it into real assets like Bitcoin, you take it. Doesn't matter the day. It doesn't matter the price. Anytime you have fake assets, you trade it for real assets. Doesn't matter the day. Doesn't matter the price. Doesn't matter. Don't try to get cute. Just anytime you have fake money that you can trade it for real money, that's when you do it. Oh, I love this from Wood Butcher. We got a 42 sat zap. It says, here's a fat zap for you. In 2035, it will be worth a steak dinner. I love that. And the thing is like most people will be like, oh, most people who would be, who might receive that 42 sats, it's what it says in my wallet here. It's about 4 cents. And that's all they would see. Oh, 4 cents. Who gives a shit? But to me, and I think to most people watching this, like I completely agree. 2035, it'll be worth a steak dinner. So if I had 4 cents in fiat today, do you think, perfect example. If I had 4 pennies, actually I was counting my coins last night. I posted a picture of it on Noster, but I had a bunch of pennies in there. If I had 4 pennies in there and in 2035, do you think I would be able to buy a steak dinner with those 4 pennies? Or do you think I would probably just throw them in the garbage? Man, been a good show today. Sunday night, James Bond says in Canada or Monday, but who knows? That's the right answer. Timber Crasher says buy on Mondays as well. The one thing that I did notice, or that I have noticed in the last, I think 6 or 7 months, this was a trend, that the first couple days of the month, Bitcoin drops. And then 3rd or 4th or 5th day, it starts going back up. But again, don't overthink it. Don't complicate it. Don't try to get fancy. Anytime you have fake money, you trade it for real money. That's it. And Sabian says more like it'll be worth a huge piece of property in a house. I mean, who knows? And this is a good point here from Duncan. This, do what rich people do what smart people do. See other buys on Mondays. Seems like a pretty good idea to me. We got Timber Crasher said the same. We got James Bond said the same, and Michael Saylor does the same. So honestly, Friday is usually when the price rips up a bit, because that's when Wall Street shuts her down for the weekend. Fucking Wall Street. Oh man, so funny. They just go to sleep every night at 5 p.m. Wall Street just goes to sleep every night at 5 p.m., goes to sleep on Saturdays, goes to sleep on Sundays, and they think that they're going to stay relevant. Does Canada have pennies anymore? No, they don't. When I was counting the coins last night, Bridget's like, can you actually exchange those pennies for anything at the bank? I'm like, I don't think so. Because it actually started to cost, this is how fucked up the system is. It actually started to cost more to make the pennies than the pennies were worth. Like, tell me your currency is dead without telling me that your currency is dead. When it costs more to produce the money is broken. Agree. This is such an easy exercise to do for people who really understand what's happening here. Divide all the assets in the world by 21 million Bitcoin, and you'll see the value of one sat. Absolutely true. I would correct that though. I would say divide all the real assets in the world, which would be less. There'll be a lower top number there, but you'll still get a very good indication, because I don't look at things that you can just create out of nothing. Like all the cost of that is going to drop to pretty much zero. Between AI, 3D printing, all that stuff, the cost is going to fall to basically zero. So take all the real assets in the world and divide by 21 million Bitcoin, and you will see the value of one sat. Do it. Just take 5 minutes today. Look in AI. How many houses are there in the world? Start there. I think it's about 2 billion. That's your top number. Divide that by 21 million. The average then, figure out how many sats each house. And that's only one asset class here. If we're talking about real assets, that's one asset class, real estate, commercial real estate. Then you factor in buildings, then you factor in land, then you factor in gold, all these things, all the real assets, divide that by 21 million. Yeah, my Pat the Fire says so many listed Canadian companies adopting Bitcoin treasuries. It's awesome. Like, as much as whenever I see Justin Trudeau's face or listen to him talk, like, I turn into a different person almost. But like, he has created so many good Bitcoiners here in Canada. Truth. Undeniable truth. Oh, do I want to get into this today? I feel like we've already had such a good show, but this is, I think I'm going to leave it there, because I don't want to just blow it all in one show. What I'm going to talk about here though is truly mind blowing, and maybe I'll save this for, we can't do it tomorrow. Maybe I'll save this for next week. I think we've had a good show today. And I got to go in like 10 minutes anyways. And I really don't want to rush this segment, because this is important. And maybe I'll actually take a little bit more time and get some more info here. But Buck52 said, I gave my buddy a $10 trillion Zimbabwe note for Christmas. That's nuts, eh? And how much land? Exactly. Open the black hole. It's true. It's like, the saying is, Bitcoin has no top because fiat has no bottom. And that's true. That's the truest words that have ever existed. The only ceiling on Bitcoin is our imagination. So whatever that is, can't put a number on it, but that's the cap. Alan says you can deposit pennies at a bank if they are rolled. You can also dump them in a Coinstar machine, but they charge 12% fee. Interesting. Well, I only had like 20 pennies there anyway, so I'm not too worried about it. But oh, look at this. We got the Grinder in the chat this morning. Shout out to the Grinder. He had a really nice post yesterday about the show. Honestly, I talked about what was I talking about there? I talked about really leaning in on Bitcoin stuff, the Bitcoin community, and Noster with King Golf. But like without honestly, Noster was probably the best decision I've ever made. Like when people on podcasts say like, what was the best investment you've ever made? I would say that not buying Bitcoin, but like taking the time. That's the greatest investment of my life. Taking the time to study Bitcoin, to learn about money, to learn about history, to learn how broken it is and what kind of impact that has on society. And then with Noster, like taking the time, it was, if you would look at Noster 2 years ago, and the Grinder can verify this. But if you look at Noster 2 years ago compared to today, like it is not even buying Bitcoin 4 years ago compared to today. It is significantly easier to use Noster now than it was back then. It was a shit show. It was a complete shit show. You had to like go to this separate website. You had to upload a picture there. You had to copy the website. You had to put that back into your Noster client to even get a profile pic, and to share pics, you had to do the same thing. But joining Noster, taking the time to interact on there, taking the time to learn the intricacies of Noster, and focus my time and energy in Noster. Those are the two greatest investments I've ever made in my life, by far. And we're only like a couple of years into it. So I can't imagine what kind of dividends it's going to pay going into the future. Grinder says 100%, but it was fun to break wallets with the Zapathon. Yeah, that was we used to do Zapathons on there. And the point of that was to try to break the Lightning wallets, like to try to zap so much that the Lightning wallets actually stopped working. That's how fucking savage it was back then. Now I think there's maybe a Zapathon every month now, but it used to be every Friday at like 4:20, I think. Classic. Where people would just like, you'd make a post and people would zap it, and then you'd see a post and you'd send a bunch of zaps to it. It was a lot of fun actually, but the purpose of it was to test the infrastructure. Isn't that funny? Note by the Grinder. How can I see this? I don't know if I can see that. No, it won't open for me. I tried opening that note there, Grinder, but it's not there. Anyways, you can also buy Bitcoin in a Coinstar machine. I didn't know that. High fees, also KYC. Yeah, you don't want that then. You don't want that. There's better ways to do it. Most folks have never seen any real money, let alone own any. True. Let's leave it there, because I was talking about the time machine there for Bitcoin, and how even if you have a job and you have zero disposable income, there is still a way where you can take advantage of what's going on here. By taking a few things around your house. That's kind of like the floor, I would say. That's the minimum that everybody should be doing. That's like level 1. Level 2, you do that, plus you take 4 or 5 apps, and I would suggest everybody go watch the video I posted a couple of days ago called How to Earn Free Bitcoin. You can find it on the channel here. But just do those 3 things. So take a couple, get your baseline, get like 200,000 or 300,000 sats, and then every single day, take like 5 or 10 minutes. That's it. Not a huge time investment here. You can do more if you want to take like surveys and stuff on ZBD, but take like 5, 10, 50 minutes a day while you're watching Netflix, while you're on the can, and just get some free sats, maybe 100, 200 sats a day, and do it every day. So that's level 2, 300,000 plus the free sats every day. And then level 3, I would say, would be to actually, commit a little bit here and figure out what you do, figure out what value you provide to the world, figure out how to add that to, on Noster, how to find people who need that, and do work for them in the mornings at night. So you go to your job every day, you come home or before, and you do whatever it is you do, whatever it is you enjoy doing. Let's say you like editing videos, or you like creating designs or graphics, or you're a weirdo and like doing accounting for people. But you just do that in the mornings and night and get paid in sats, non-KYC sats. Never have to touch the old system. You can buy gift cards with that, or you can hold on to them. But that's kind of the 3 levels that I would say for people that don't have a whole lot of disposable income, but still want to start getting into Bitcoin and buying time in the future. So we're going to leave it there. I want to say thank you to everybody for the zaps here. I think I missed a couple on Zap Stream. Zap Stream just shut off. Right on. Did I run out of sats? Oh no, we're still live. Okay, so the grinder zapped 121 sats, Spaceman zapped 121 sats, and James 420 sats. Love that. Love that. Thank you. Thank you, James. Love that. 420 sats. Okay, let's actually, while we're here, I want everybody here who's watching from North America. And I know a lot of you have already done this, but I want you to take this seriously. I want you to give Bitcoin Well a try, and I'm going to give away some Bitcoin here, courtesy of Bitcoin Well. But I guarantee you, if you're in Canada, if you're in the US, if you haven't tried Bitcoin Well, Bull Bitcoin's also good. But I prefer Bitcoin Well just because their platform's way easier to use, personally. But anyways, check out Bitcoin Well. I'm going to put a link here. You get some free Bitcoin just for using this link here, getting an account. Buy some Bitcoin, buy like $100 or $200. Try it out. Again, first reason, they are Team Bitcoin, which is a big deal to me. They're not Team Government like a lot of exchanges out there. They're Team Bitcoin. They've been around for about 10 years now. Very good track record. And, I fully trust Bitcoin Well, I do, but I don't have to, because I send them dollars, they send me sats. There's no trust required there. They don't hold my Bitcoin at all. They don't even give you the option to, which to me is a big deal. Plus, they're Bitcoin only. Second one, fees. This is a big deal for a lot of people, especially if you're buying like a bigger amount. They have the lowest fees in North America that I've found. I think it's like 1.2% spread. And they're very transparent with it. There's no hidden fees there or anything like that. Very simple, very transparent. And the third one is just how easy it is to use. And they have features on here between like the DCA, Lightning withdrawals. In Canada, they have the pay my bills option. You can swap Bitcoin for on-chain, layer 1 on-chain for free, 0. Nobody else offers that. So honestly, just try them out. There's literally 0 risk to trying it out. It's not like you're going to lose your Bitcoin. But I guarantee you try it a couple times, you test out their website, their experience on there, you're going to be a full-time Bitcoin Well customer. I guarantee it. It's so good and so easy to use. So let's bring up the Well toss here for people. Get your Lightning wallets out. Somebody's going to win some free sats. We ready? Got to make sure I didn't miss any Arnie's apps this morning. No, the YouTube zap's pretty quiet today, but that's okay. That's all right. All right, we ready? We set? Go. Come on, big one, big money, big money, big money. 210. That's all right. Perfect example, though, of a company who decreased their incentives, their rewards. Like a week ago or 2 weeks ago, the floor here was 500 sats for Bitcoin Well. 500. So it's cut in half, more than half in 2 weeks. So that's what I'm saying. Like, take this stuff seriously. Between ZBD, Fountain, Wavelake, who else? Smiles app. There's a ton of ShakePay, Fold. There's a ton of ways to earn free Bitcoin, and we're never going to have this chance again, ever. Nobody will. Because remember, they can't print sats. They can't create more sats. It's going to be here and it's going to be gone forever. So that is Bitcoin Well. Definitely check them out. Give them a shot. And I mean, I'd say like if you don't like them, then I'll give you your money back. But you're not going to lose any money. You're just trading your fake money for real money, just in a different way. Try them out. If you're in North America. Are you sure, Charlie? This might be a state by state thing, because I've talked to people in the US who use Bitcoin Well and use Lightning. So yeah, I mean, I think it is state by state there, but I'm not 100% sure. Andrew says, what are your thoughts on keeping 2 devices in 2 different bank deposit boxes, multi-sig with a third at home? Yeah, I mean, it's good. It's good. That's a good strategy, honestly. Like if you're able to like map that out in your head, if you're able to set it all up, if you trust your banks, like that's a solid strategy. Andrew, I see you're a Bitcoin journeyman. Did you watch the show yesterday? I did like a full half-hour show on like different strategies, different things to think about with multi-sig, with encryption, with if you just have a single sig right now, how you can make that better. So you should have access to that. If, as a Bitcoin journeyman, you should be able to just go to the YouTube, my page, and there should be the full show or the Q&A there from yesterday on the feed. And that applies to anybody out there if you want to do that. It's like $3 a month Canadian to get a membership for the channel. It's kind of laughable. I might bump it up, but I might close off the one at the current level and make, because I mean, it's worth way more than that in my opinion. Aljo, just stopped by to say hello and wish everybody a good run. It's a marathon, not a sprint, so keep going. Great advice. Great advice. Kieran says free sats. Yeah, I know. Hard to believe, eh? Hard to believe. You should never get free sats. You should always have to work for it. But in this case, where we are right now in the adoption cycle, these companies want you using their products and services. So that's where the free sats come in. Not going to be here forever. So that's it for today, folks. We're going to keep doing this. We're on YouTube. I stopped streaming to my other channel. So we're on YouTube, we're on Zapstream, and we are on Rumble. So again, if you have if you're on Noster, if you use Amethyst for Android, or if you use Nostr for iOS, Apple, you can actually watch the stream directly from Noster, from the client on your phone. You can send zaps in there. You can send links. You can do a lot more than YouTube. Leno says, thanks for the show. It was a great podcast while working out. Well, thanks for being here. Francis from Bull was on a pod last night. Their new wallet will integrate Noster with both Lightning and Liquid. Wow, love that. Make payments simple. Love that. I like both Bitcoin Well and Bull Bitcoin. I think if you had two, if you're in Canada and you had 2 exchanges or platforms to use, I would say number 1, Bitcoin Well, number 2, Bull Bitcoin, and number 3, either like Beaver Bitcoin or ShakePay. In the States, I would say Bitcoin Well, Strike, and River. That's my experience. That's my recommendations. So thanks everybody for the sats, both YouTube and Zapstream. Shout out to Kieran for creating such an amazing platform over on Zapstream. I don't know if he's still here or not, but we appreciate it, my friend, and doing my best to try to get people over there. We got 22 people on there right now. It's pretty cool. So have yourselves a great Thursday, and we'll talk to you tomorrow for Friday show, for Fat Zap Friday. Bye-bye.